volume up. J-Dub, turn the volume up. DJ, turn the volume up. Honey Claus. Honey's Claus. Honey's Claus. Honey's Claus. Honey, 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 honey's Claus. Honey, 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 honey's Claus. No one else to listen to, check her elegance. Sick of all them weak shows, here's the medicine. Kept their ears to the streets, true veterans. This is Marge's favorite damn show. I tried telling them it's about to go up, stairways. My girl Honey on the motherfucking airways. It's about to go up, stairways. My girl Honey on the motherfucking airways. Turn up, East Coast, turn up, Japan, turn up, Motherland, turn up, Europe, turn up, South America, turn up, Australia, turn up, whole world, turn up.
Woo, 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 woo. Do I get a like honey, honey, honey?
No, you get no honey.
I don't get nothing today. Nothing. What's up with that? I don't know. What up, everybody? Welcome to Honey's Closet. Welcoming all my viewers over from Instagram. You guys, we do this every Tuesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I've been gone for a while, but I'm back in full effect with the incredible, the debonair, the maestro of all things, the master of all things, Lee Michaels.
Here you go. Listen, let me just start out by saying I send out my deepest sympathy for your loss of your father.
Thank you.
I can say I know what you're going through, but I don't know what you're going through. I know what I went through when I lost my dad and my mom and my sister, my uncle, 2 aunts, and two uncles. And, you know, it's hard.
It's very hard.
And there are no words that someone can say to make you feel better or help you deal with it. It takes time.
It takes a lot of time. And this show is dedicated to my father. And, you know, as I sit here and I'm thinking right now, I'm like, when I go home tonight, he won't be there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm used to when I get home. The absence of him not being there. He's not going to be there.
The absence of his voice.
Yeah.
You know.
Or the grumpiness or his, you know.
Yeah, all that.
So first and foremost, I just want to, I don't know why my phone is still making noises. I turned it down. This is ridiculous. But it's mine. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who has called in and checked on me. And, you know, every day I'm getting calls. You know, people are, are you okay? And, you know, those shoulders, that's my phone.
Yeah, that one was definitely yours.
Shoulder to cry on and everything, you know, it really is a hard situation. And for me, I didn't know, let me start off by saying, my father, first of all, when you hear hospice, people automatically assume that somebody's dying of cancer because most people go on hospice for cancer. My dad didn't die of cancer. He died of congestive heart failure, something that was gradually working on him. He got sick, and I called the emergency. And when he went to the hospital, his heart was only functioning right at 20%. So he didn't want to have there's these tests they can do that's really, really crucial that kind of just may work, may not work, but the pain and the things that you have to go through.
Very invasive. Huh?
Very invasive. So he declined it, and they basically told us that he had about 3 to 6 months. So when he came home, I was thinking, they sent him home on hospice, and I was thinking, this ain't looking good. But I went out, he wasn't eating, and I went out and I bought him some Ensure. Or I should say my son's girlfriend, Memory, brought him some Ensure. And I started giving him that Ensure, and it was like he just started like sitting up, and he wanted macaroni and cheese and greens. And, you know, he was wanting to get out the bed. And I'm like, he's doing better. He's going to, you know, I'm going to have my dad a little bit longer.
Well, did he know his time was limited?
They told him. And I was so this protective. You know, we don't mention hospice in this house to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would be like, who is this nurse? And like, oh, these are nurses take care of you, Daddy. I never mentioned hospice. At the hospital, I didn't want them to tell him. It was just me trying to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
But the doctor told him when I wasn't there.
Mm.
So he said to us, well, my days are numbered and I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not okay because you're not going anywhere, you know? And so when he came home, I'm like, he's good. He's getting stronger. He's eating. He's grouchy. He's grumpy.
You and I had that conversation.
Yeah. He wants to get out the bed.
Yeah.
And so the hospital be like, well, you know, he can go up, he can go down. You know, you should do these things. You should do this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, my dad's good. My dad's good. So he's going to be here. He's going to beat those 3 to 6 months and he's going to be here for a year or something, you know. And his birthday is coming up this Saturday. And I'm like, we're going to plan, you know. And so he came home October the 13th, which was a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad didn't even last 2 weeks.
Mm.
And so the morning that my father died was Saturday, the 27th of October. He was very, very anxious. I'm going to get out the bed. And I'm like, all right, let me walk across to Walmart and get some stuff, and then I'll take you out. And when I came back home, I remember I was on the phone with my cousin, and I'm like, I know he went and got the bed, but I'm going to sit down for a minute. And I put the coffee on, and he started hollering. Like, right. And I'm like, what is wrong? I'm like, and I remember telling my cousin, I'm finna go in here and hurt him. Right, he in here hollering and stuff. So I go, what are you hollering for? I want to get out this bed. I'm uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, Daddy. So I help him to get up, you know, and once I get him to push himself to the edge of the bed, I can let him lean on me and I put him in his wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So I set him in the wheelchair. I said, are you okay? He said, yeah. I said, do you want some coffee? He said, yeah. I literally walked into the kitchen. I can see him from the kitchen. I walked into the kitchen. I poured the coffees, my coffee, his coffee, and Darius's. And I looked at him as I put creamer in his little sugar in there. As I looked at him, he's like leaning to the side, but he's looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking he's just watching what I'm doing, you know. So I go in there, I take him the coffee, and I sit him up. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you leaned over? And I sit him up, right? This is a matter of maybe a minute, maybe 2. I sit him up. I come back in the kitchen to stir my coffee up, and I say, I'm going to make you some biscuits, because he loved biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
As I go back in the kitchen, I stir my coffee. I give Darius his coffee. I come back to sip my coffee. I look back at him. He's leaned back over more, and his eyes are closed. So I'm like, what is he doing? So I go in there. He hadn't touched his coffee, and as I sit him up, his eyes roll back. And so I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, maybe he's just tired. So I'm like hitting his face, Daddy, get up. And he's not. He's like biting his tongue, like type of thing, like something with his tongue, and he's drooling. And so I'm like, so I call hospice. I'm like, something's going on. They go, give him oxygen. He's probably overwhelmed himself. So I put the oxygen on him. I turn it up, and I'm like hitting him, Daddy, get up. I'm hitting his chest, Daddy, get up. And I can see this pulse in his neck moving quick. So I'm like, he's breathing, right? So then he starts doing these, right? So then I'm like, oh, maybe the oxygen is helping him to breathe, right? And then it clicked, those last breaths.
Yeah.
So I call her. I'm like, y'all got to get here. Something's not right. So she's like, okay, we're sending a nurse. So I call my son. He's like, okay, I'm going to get over there. I call my other son. I'm like, something's going on. I need to get him back in the bed. By the time, I think I called my god sister Tiffany was in town. I called her. She called her sister Enid. Enid came. I mean, before they even got there, he did 6 or 7 of those breaths, and he didn't do any more. And I'm like, right? So I'm on the phone with my cousin. She's like, I said, I got to get out the house because now I don't know. At that moment, I'm numb.
Yeah.
So my god sister get there, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? What did I do to my dad, right?
Nothing.
So they come up there, my god sister and my son's girlfriend, memory, they come up there, and they check for pulse. So we get him, and we started putting him in the bed, and my youngest son walks in, and he's like, oh, I got him. He don't know. So before he go, I said, John, I go, Papa's gone. He goes, gone. I go, he passed away. And he just, like, he walked out. He must have thought about it. He came back in and he helped us get him in the bed and we laid him down. By that time, the hospice nurse got there and she had this machine where she can check his vitals. And I walked out and my god sister stayed in there and she told him like he had passed. And I'm like, it wasn't even 4 minutes of me getting him out the bed.
No.
Like, what? So I still have this thing in me. I'm like, what did I do?
You didn't do anything wrong. See, when people are dying, it's a process. And if you don't know the signs, it'll catch you by surprise. What was his appetite like? Had he slowed down?
He had got up and then he kind of was like he didn't really want to eat.
Yep.
Those last days, he was like the day before. I'm like, no, I don't want nothing. I'm like, he was just eating because he wanted apple pie, all that.
That's one of the early signs. They stop eating. And I don't know if it's they saying, okay, I'm tired, I can't do this no more. But one of the early signs, and I've talked to a lot of people who've lost loved ones, especially older people, when they're ready to go, they're ready to go. And they'll stop eating. They'll stop communicating. And if you put any kind of drugs on them, morphine and all that, they just weird out.
I told them, somebody told me, do not give him morphine. My son's girlfriend was like, do not give him morphine. Morphine suppresses the heart.
Yeah.
And it only helps. So there was morphine in the house, but I told them we're not giving him morphine. So the only meds he was on was his daily meds. He took his meds that morning. He took his meds that morning and
but he had congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
His heart's working hard to keep, pumping blood through the rest of the body and the other organs. And when the organs don't get the supply of oxygen and blood, they begin to shut down. The liver, the kidney, and et cetera.
And they said he had edema because his stomach was getting bigger. And so, I just was like, he was just talking to me. Did
his legs swell up?
His legs were swelling up.
Fluid? So basically, when your heart can't pump strong enough to keep the fluids moving, it starts building up in the legs and the belly and, sometimes the arm, all over the body. And you basically drown. Your lungs fill up with water. And that's what happens. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And so, I find comfort in talking about it to an extent. Hey, bestie. I find comfort in talking about it to an extent. Helping others. There's such a process from hospice to, and the hospice were very helpful with coming there and calling the mortuary. They take care of those things for you. And then, did you know that you can leave somebody in your house 24 hours after they died?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I don't see why not.
So, because she said, well, what time do you want? I gave her the mortuary, and I had already, and this is another thing. They will tell you, you need to start, planning these things. You need to call his insurance company. You need to do these things. And I'm not calling his insurance company. I'm not rushing my dad to his death. I'm not calling a mortuary. I'm not doing these things. I'm like basically pushing him to his death. I'm not doing those things. People do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
See, you subconsciously, it was more about you than what it was about him.
Yeah.
And you were not ready to let him go. And until that happens, nothing's going to happen. I remember when my mom was in hospice, they took her out of the hospital. We put her into like a nursing home, but it was a hospice care as well. And my wife and I stayed there with her until she died. It was, I want to say it was 5 or 6 days. We never left. Stayed in the room with her. Hospice nurse would come once or twice a day. And they gave her morphine. And I was in that same mindset that you were in. Because I saw her come back from some real adverse conditions.
Right.
And I said, I'm not giving up.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, I mean, it must have been 3 or 4 days, I became overwhelmed. I had to go outside. And there was a circular driveway at this nursing home, and I was sitting there on the curb. And it was kind of nice out. It wasn't cold, and it was in the Chicago area. And I was just sitting there by myself. And I was just trying to collect my thoughts and deal with the fact that my mom is dying.
Mm-hmm.
And this man came by. He walked a couple of feet past me, and he stopped, turned around, and come back. He goes, young man, are you in trouble? I said, yeah, my mother's dying. He goes, I could tell. He goes, well. He says, can I pray for you? I said, sure. And he was a pastor. He was going in to pray for people at the home. And he prayed, and he says, can I pray for your mother? I said, sure. So we went in, and my wife was there. I think my son might have been there at that time, and myself. And we all held hands, and he said a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what? When he finished that second prayer, I was at peace. I had accepted the fact.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I went over to my mom, and I started talking to her. And I told her, I said, Mom, everything's going to be okay. I'm the baby, right? I'm her baby.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm a big boy now. Don't worry about me no more. And I mean, I'm full grown, man. I'm 59 or whatever it was. No, it wasn't that old. But I thought letting her know that we're all okay now. You've done a great job being a mom. You made sacrifices for all of us. Now you don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. And I called my sisters, and they were in Virginia, and they both were on the phone, and they said their goodbyes. And less than 24 hours, she was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went home to take a shower. And I told her, I'll be right back. Okay. Be cool. I'll be back. And when I came back, she was in those final moments, in those short breaths, and long breaths, and short breaths. And then when I saw the veins in her head flatten out, she was gone.
Yeah.
Right in her forehead and the temple area. It just flattened out. There was no more blood circulation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then she's gone.
I remember my dad was like starting to sweat because he would get these fluid on the lungs, and he would sweat, and we called it, and he always he was so strong, he always fought back, and I could see him. So I'm like, no, I'm sweat. I'm patting him, patting the sweat off his head, and I'm hitting him, Daddy, get up, get up, get up. And I was like, I've heard the stories of literally watching someone take their last breath.
Yeah.
But I never imagined that I would witness that. And it was, I remember probably earlier that week, he had came to the point where he couldn't get out the bed. So we had to clean him up and change him. And he said, you have to push him over to one side and clean him, and then roll him to the other side and get the diaper on him and do all that stuff. And he told me, he said, I know you're tired. And I said, no, I'm not, Daddy. I said, I'm not tired. I go, you did it for me. It's time for me to do it for you. I'm okay. And I remember going in the room that night and praying and saying, because it's frustrating taking care of someone. And my dad would wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, calling my name. And I would, what does he want? Scared the heck out of me. And I remember praying and saying, God, please do not ever let me show him any sign of frustration or whatever. Let me always go in there with a smiling face. And I tried to always go in there. That morning that he died, I remember I wasn't frustrated, but I'm like, what are you yelling for? What are you yelling for? And, he just said he was uncomfortable. So, I literally watched. I think what really bothers me is that when I first took him his coffee and he was leaned over looking at me, I keep asking myself, was he trying to tell me something? Because he was looking at me. And when I set him up, I didn't pay attention to realize that something was wrong. I just set him up and said, what you doing? And here's your coffee. Make you some biscuits. I'll be right back.
Did he respond?
I don't know. I don't think he did. I didn't pay attention to even see. I just felt like he was looking.
Do you believe that there's a afterlife or another dimension, if you will? He was on his way. he was in that transition at that moment. It was kind of like a blank stare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was transitioning then.
And I'm like, and at that point, he had only been in the chair maybe 2 minutes.
Don't matter.
And I'm like, what?
When they're
the
ready
hell?
to go, they're gone.
Yeah, and I'm like, so I said I'm gonna try my hardest to help other people because there's so much. I don't want to spend the whole show speaking of my, some being a Debbie Downer or anything. Throughout the next couple of weeks, I will share information. Like next week, we'll talk about the mortuaries and the things that you need to prepare for. And there was a lady, when I went there at one point, her father was going through the same thing. He hadn't died yet, and she was making plans. She was like, I'm just here to make plans before because, the hospice told me I should do this. And I'm like, I didn't listen to the hospice because I'm like, my dad ain't going nowhere. We don't mention hospice down here. Your guys are just nurses. You're going to do your job and get the hell out. I'm going to take care of him. And people will be like, come out the house and come go here. No, I'm not leaving my dad. I'm staying in the house. When I did go somewhere, I made sure somebody was there with him. I came right back, and it was just, man, I did not think just 2 weeks. And
you just don't know.
You don't know. And I remember even Josefa, who sat here and told me face to face, like, take pictures of him, record his voice. And I thought, I'm going to do that, but I'll wait till he starts going down a little bit. I don't want to do something and make him think that I'm rushing him to his death. And that was always my fear, like to keep him uplifted and whatever. Yeah. And I didn't do those things. And I regret not doing it.
Yeah. I recorded my uncle, my favorite uncle, Uncle Bill. And I'm so glad I did. And I got to get those tapes out of storage and put them on DVD or on a computer. But I interviewed him. I asked him questions that I didn't know about the family, things that, and he was telling me stuff that I never knew.
Never knew, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He went all the way back to my grandfather, his father. Mm-hmm. If you saw him, you would have thought he was a white man. He was so fair complected with straight black hair, worked for the Virginia Electric and Power Company as a lineman.
Okay.
And the company and the people he worked with on a daily basis didn't know he was a black man.
Wow.
Until my grandmother, his wife, brought him his lunch one day. My grandmother was a very dark-skinned
They said, woman. Something wrong with this.
So, no. Just check it out. What happened was the guys that worked on the same truck with him, they were all in the yard getting ready to leave, and she came up to the fence because it was a secured area and brought him a brown paper bag with his lunch in it. Mm-hmm. So when he came back over to the truck, the white guys said to him, "Hey, Will," his name was William, they call him Will, "was that your nigger maid?" And he said, "No, that's my wife." And they said, "You married to a nigger?" And he goes, "Yeah, what do you think I am?" And he went out to work. They sent him up a live pole. They didn't turn the electric off, and they electrocuted him. Didn't kill him. They sent him up a hot pole.
Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
People are so, Now,
that was back in the early 50s or 48, 49. It was before I was born. I was born in 1950 in Virginia. Mm-hmm. So the stuff that you hear about today, the crazy stuff that people do, they've always been doing it. Okay? We just didn't hear about it because the newspapers didn't always print that kind of stuff.
Right.
The TV stations didn't report it. The radio stations didn't report it. But now with the technology that everybody has in their hand, you can't get away with that stuff.
You know what, though? And I had a conversation today with my cousin, Jersey Sweetie, because we were talking about racism. And we know that racism is alive and well. We're going to get into that because we're going to move into that. But I'm going to take the conversation. Let me just close out this segment with saying, and next week we'll talk more about the mortuaries, and shout out to House of Winston, who took care of my father, did an amazing job. Did you know Whitney Houston? That's who got Whitney Houston when she passed away?
Who?
Whitney Houston, House of Winston. They have Whitney Houston's picture up there. They have Cesar Chavez's picture up there, and Tookie Williams. They have their pictures up there, and some men that was like in the military. And I'm like, did y'all just got these pictures up here. Did y'all? He's like, oh yeah, Whitney came here. I'm like, she came to this one? He said, yeah, and they picked her up and took her out to wherever she went to. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so our home church, Paradise Baptist Church, and then the Inglewood Cemetery, we got to get into that next week. Like, I'll share some things with you guys. I really, 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 really want to help other people who may be going through this or have to, one day will go through this. There is so much that you need to know. And I keep saying I'm going to write something up or do something or maybe just do a YouTube video or something because I was so overwhelmed. To the day that we buried my father, I wasn't even sure he was going to get buried that day. Mm. So we'll talk about that next week. But it's so much going on. But just thanks to everybody, yourself. People were calling me, checking on me on a Biggie Beats, you know, my family. Shout out to Joker because when I say he called and just like checked on me every day and was really a shoulder to cry on. When it's times like this when people show up and show you who they really are that, you know, it meant a lot to me. Good. So to you, to just everybody who checked on me, trust me, it's people say, somebody told me, well, she looks like she's okay. You can look okay one day and can be down the next day, after the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I needed to come here today and do my show and reach out to people and my fans and friends and everybody who listens to Honey's Closet because sitting in the house thinking.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even stay at the house where he died. I have not been there.
Yeah.
My clothes are just there. I've been staying at my son's. And shout out to my son in memory, his girlfriend, for letting me stay there and till I get back on my feet or figure out what I'm going to do. And, you know, I'm probably going to go to Vegas for a couple. You know, I'm going to be like a moving hobo for a while. You know, because I cannot.
You got to do what you got to do for you now, you know.
Yeah.
And the job of the caretaker, especially of a close family member like a mother or father, it's devastating. It's very, very tough. And I took care of my mom in my house for her last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You know, getting her up in the morning, helping her get dressed, bathe her and feed her, and, you know, spending time with her all day long. I stopped working. I was just home with mom.
And see, that's the part right now where it's going to be a struggle because I haven't, you know, just not being able to work full time and do the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
Right now, it's tough. And when I tell you I'm an open book right now because I really feel like if I can help one person, then it makes me feel like, you know, what I went through, not that it's worth it, because to me, it's never, I don't want to use the word worth it, but if I can help somebody else, then I'm doing something.
Make it a little easier for
Makes
them.
it easier for somebody else. Because you don't talk about that.
Anticipate what's going to happen.
Because nobody sits down and say, okay, well, you know what, your father or mother or somebody, so-and-so is dying, so let me tell you what to do. No, you don't have that talk. Nobody talks death.
Yeah. And you don't go to school to learn that process.
And what I went through, I was like, what? Like, it's So a lot of things that you can do to say, it's very emotional. So, love you guys so much. And before we move on, I just want to send out my condolences to Puff Daddy and his whole family in the loss of his kid's mother. You know, Kim Porter died.
Yeah.
And so,
what is she
47.
died?
They said pneumonia or something. They're not sure. The report's going to come out, but she died at home. She was sick. So, she had a cold or something. So, shouts out to that family. She was 47 years old, left two, you know, young, 2 twin daughters or sons too. But, you know, she had an older son with I'll Be Sure. And then another son with Puffy. And then
sure?
2. I'm sure. I'm sure. That was a good one. So, but back to this racism. You know, I got into a conversation today where I post things on my social media. I usually say thoughts, like give me your thoughts or what's your thoughts on this particular post. And I really want people to conversate about it Whether you agree with the post, you don't agree. Usually people just kind of comment on it. Now, we know that racism has never went away. It's always been there. It's always going to be there. But in the last 2 years or so, or less, your president has given these people a little kryptonite, and they think they can just go and do and say whatever they want. Like, from calling the cops on people to the things that they say, or like I posted a picture of a guy in Mississippi. He had the Confederate flag with a noose on it, and said, "This is how we do something. This is how we do." I forgot something kind of control or something. I can't remember what it is, but just disrespectful. I mean. Like a couple of months ago, there was a young man that was hung in the cemetery, in Inglewood Cemetery.
Really?
Yeah,
I missed that one.
Yeah, they found him hanging in Inglewood Cemetery. That's not. Oh, it's suicide. Everything is suicide. You know, from Sandra Bland, they're trying to say she committed suicide, and all these people committing suicide, and the hate. There's a little 9-year-old girl, and I don't know what she was being bullied in school, but she hung herself recently. A little 9-year-old girl. The amount of hate that is surfacing this earth right now.
Yeah,
and people
it's
think
really,
it's
really
so
scary.
It's scary. So we need to talk about it. We need to prepare our children for it. We need to stand up as Black people and take a stand in our communities. I mean, you just can't allow people to just treat you any kind of way. And I'm not saying violence, but there has to be something that we can do to protect ourselves and to say, I'm not taking this no more. Like, I want somebody, little corner store Becky or whatever, to call the police on me for something. I'm going to give her a reason to. I'm going to give her a reason to.
Say, okay, I'm going to be here after I whip your behind.
Yeah, you going to call the police on me?
Get me for that. Yeah.
When the police come and start, I'm going to say, look, if you going to harass me, at least let me whip this bitch ass real quick. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to take me for nothing.
Right.
I'm going to give you a reason. But, and that's probably wrong, because we don't want to be going to jail, or nothing like that. But
you don't want to go there. But
it's ridiculous. How much are we supposed to take?
The disrespect that we're getting from people will take you to that edge, over the line, make you lose your damn mind.
Yeah.
And it's hurtful.
It's very hurtful.
What people do and say.
It's ridiculous.
Totally.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
But I wish they just say, I wish the police would stand up and say, we're not going to take these phone calls anymore. And just give us, back in the day when I was going to school, I was bad in school. We can fire you, wouldn't get in trouble. You might get suspended.
Right.
But you wouldn't go to jail. They need to go back to those laws. Let us beat somebody's ass real quick for just harassing us. Like the woman who harassed the man, I want to know what apartment you live in.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, she just wanted to get her some
I think she wanted her some to be invited to his apartment.
Well, I need to know where you live at. Who are you going to see? He should have just whipped out this thing right now if it was big and just scared her with it. Just slapped her across the face with it.
Did she have a dog with her or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, should have left that dog alone. He'd been sitting down in the lobby. So I'll be right back. I got to go hang out with Jabbo.
Right. It's just, it's ridiculous because it's harassment.
Yeah.
And then had he let her come up, and then she could have easily said, "Oh, he raped me," or
Exactly.
Like there's a video I shared of an older white woman. She's in front of a car. Now I could not see it was a guy. I don't know what color he was, but she was in front of the car on the phone with 911. The car is at a stop. And she's like, "Oh, he's running me over. Help me. Help me. He's hitting me with the car." And then she called for somebody. "Help me." And I'm like, "Okay, stupid lady." And she goes, "He's recording me." When the police get there, they're going to see this tape.
Right.
This man ain't moved at all. But stuff like that happens.
Escalate shit.
Right.
The cops could have come up there with guns out blazing. Mm-hmm. So people are crazy. Okay? They're crazy and lost their damn minds, and they're just doing over the top crazy stuff, instigating violence.
Now, have you seen the lady in the airport?
Which one is that? No.
When she was like, oh, there's seats over there, there's seats over there, there's seats over there.
No.
There was a black lady and I'm assuming a black guy. He was out in the military. And they were standing in line waiting to board. And they were having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
She was aggravated that they were standing in line conversating. Mind you, there are white people all around them conversating. And so I don't know how the initial conversation got started, but the black lady said, well, if we're bothering you, you should go sit down. And she goes, but there's seats there. There's two together there. There's seats there. And she just kept doing that and doing it. And so security came up and told her to stop. And she goes, but seriously, there's seats there and there's seats there. And people were trying to go to her defense and say something was wrong with her. Clear. She was mentally ill. Okay. She wasn't that mentally ill. She can walk her ass up in that airport and board a plane.
Yeah.
So I'm sick of people trying to say, oh, something was wrong with her. If she could sit there and say, there's a seat there and there's a seat. She wasn't. And I maybe would have bought that had she harassed everybody.
Right.
That was talking. Like, so you're talking, there's a seat over there. Everybody that was talking, had she would have harassed them. But she didn't harass anybody else but that one particular black couple. Mm. So everybody else was talking around her. She didn't say nothing to nobody else. So I don't buy the crazy bit at all.
Well, she might be a little bit, but they're always going to use that as a fallback position. When a non-person of color does some real crazy shit, I bet she gets some mental help. At least get on some Prozac or something. But if you pull that, you get the beat down.
They came and got her. Yeah. I don't know if they let her board or not, but security went and got somebody else, and they came and she was like, what? And she finally walked over there. But I just kind of find it funny that she's only crazy when she's harassing the black people. There was other people standing there clearly talking. There was a group of white girls, like maybe a track team or volleyball team or something, that was talking. She said nothing to nobody else but this one particular couple.
Well, some people have the sense of power and control, and that's why they latch out like that, at people, because they want to control you. They want to, they don't want you to do that. It's power and control.
Yeah.
And that's why people like Donald Trump do the stuff that they're doing, This, and I don't even want to talk about him, but he can't exist too much longer. I mean, the stuff that he has done is worthy of him being escorted out of the White House and bar him from even coming to the city of Washington, D.C.
They need to take Donald Trump by them little pieces of hair on the top. You know how back in the day when we had a fight, you take the girl hair and you wrap it around. Just wrap that. You can't wrap it around your hand too much, but just take a little bit of it.
One good grip, yeah.
Get some Vaseline on there. I mean, maybe not because that might make it slippery, but just grab his ass by them pieces of hair and drag him out the White House. He needs to be kaput out. Him, the whole
humiliated,
and the whole damn administration.
Yeah, I agree.
They all
this
need to
ain't
go.
the America I've known.
No, and people are laughing at us. Yeah. Other countries are laughing at us.
Oh, I know. I talk to people from all over the world almost every day.
England don't want him over there. I heard I seen one meeting with the whatever they have over there when they meet, and one man said if he comes here, he should be arrested. Now, please take him over there.
The Parliament.
The Parliament.
Yeah.
I want to move to England now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk with a British accent. I want to shout out Snoop Dogg. He got his star on the Walk of Fame.
Isn't that something? I
I heard he crip walked all over. Yeah, go Snoop. Boom, hit it, Snoop. Yeah, I want to see that part. I didn't see that part, but
where is it located?
Right in front of the El Capitan Theater.
Oh, really?
I'm going down there just so I can take a picture.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. I think Ice Cube got his too.
Okay, good. They deserve it.
Yeah, a lot of people got him and shouldn't have him. So
I heard you can buy it.
I'm gonna buy mine.
$75,000, you can get a star.
Oh, okay, I'll go get that next week.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go get mine.
Go get your star.
Honey's Closet.
Honey's Closet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get that. But shout out to him, and I want to go see his play. I heard his play is really good. Although I heard he had a little drama there yesterday. You heard about?
No.
Tamar Braxton is one of the.
She's a little crazy.
She's one of the people that plays in the play.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, I think during getting ready for the second segment or whatever show, they had like a couple of days. She had someone, one of her people was, she had them bring her food, but she didn't give security their names. They weren't cleared, so they wouldn't let them in. And so she threw a bitch fit and quit right there in the middle of the show. So they had to hurry up and get somebody, one of the dancers or somebody, to come up and sing the song and or something, and
buy some time to get it
whatever.
together.
So they had to close the curtains, have a little intermission, come back, and it wasn't her. And from what I hear, people were in the audience saying, "What did Tamar do? She must have, like they're used to her acting crazy." So they said she came back later on and was ready to go, and they was like, "No, I wouldn't let her do it either. No, we good.
See ya.
Bye, bitch."
Yep.
I don't understand, and you've been around Hollywood way longer, not way like that, but
way.
Why do people I hear these
Egos.
crazy stories about
Egos.
I have to have all white flowers, need to be to the left, and
They're crazy. They got issues.
don't look at me when I walk by. Like, who are you that I can't look at you?
Well, they believe their own hype, and they try to outdo another crazy mofo. Okay, so they hear about what Marilyn Monroe did, or I'm just using her as an example.
Yeah.
But some other highbrow celebrity and the kind of quirks and weird shit that they used to do. So they got to have some stupid stuff to be a star.
I don't get it.
I remember the first time I interviewed Prince.
Prince?
Yeah. He was a complete fool. I wanted to throw him off the stage. We were doing a live broadcast at a high school in Charlotte, North Carolina, on his first song, Soft and Wet. So we bring him into town on this big promotion and got, a couple thousand kids in this gymnasium. We're up on the stage. I'm interviewing him live on the radio. I'm asking him questions, and all he's saying is yes or no. I couldn't get another word out of him to save my life. So I go to a commercial break. I said, dude, you got to talk to me. I said, and then he would, instead of saying no or I don't know, he would just raise his shoulders up. Yeah. I go, what is that shit, man? We're not on TV, we're on radio.
Prince.
I said, dude. So he broke out laughing and said, I'm just messing with you. I said, man, don't mess with me. You got these kids looking at you like you're crazy.
He was so little, he had a deep voice.
Yeah, that was part act too.
What, his voice was?
Yeah.
Oh.
But so he said, okay, I got it. So we go back on and he did the same shit again. I wanted to throw his little ass off the stage at that point, right? So towards the end, I just left it alone. And I said, okay, we're going to play some of your music from your new album, blah, 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 blah. So we played a couple of songs, and I ended the interview because it was worthless. I mean, he could have stayed in L.A. Well, why bother me coming all the way across country to Charlotte, North Carolina, and say nothing?
Just yes and no.
Yeah.
I don't get
But
these
you know why he did it?
Hmm.
He was really shy, and he didn't know how to act.
Wow.
He wasn't prepared for
the interview
or just to be out front like that. He was not comfortable with it. And I saw him, a couple of years later, and we laughed about it and all of that. And then several years later, it was in the 90s. Because when I first met him, it was 78. 78. And I ran into him again. Well, I saw him throughout the years.
Yeah.
Concerts and stuff like that. But when I ran into him again, it was in the 90s. I had started a record label, and I had an artist, female artist, that was from Minneapolis. She was only like 18 years old. And I wanted to bring her to L.A. to finish the recording that the producer had worked on, but her mother didn't want her to leave town. So the producer was a friend of Prince. He called Prince up and said, hey, man, can we come by the studio? And, I just got a couple of lines of some vocals to lay down. He goes, yeah, come on. He said, well, Lee owns this company, the record label. He goes, tell Lee to come on up too. So we go up to Minneapolis to the studio, and we got the tour. He gave us the tour himself and says, whatever you want. use whatever you want. You want me to bring in my special engineer that runs the whole automated system he had in there and everything? He says, bring him in, and we used his personal studio to do our recording, and he didn't charge us a dime.
And they say he was very generous.
He was.
Very generous man. Yeah. And those people, that's cool.
Yeah. But part of the crazy stuff that he did was just act. He was a little quirky, no doubt. A little bit.
Well, I think when you're a genius like that, you have to, there's something wrong. Yeah. Most of your geniuses are a little crazy, Yep. Who was give me your best interview and your worst?
Well, Prince was definitely the worst.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the worst. Yeah. Best interview, many. Patti LaBelle was fun.
Oh, my God, Miss Patti. You interviewed Patti LaBelle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did she cook for you?
She did, yeah. I ate Patty's cooking. In fact, I'm going to have some Patti sweet potato pie.
I have them in my car.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm. The little miniature ones?
Yeah.
I got 2 of them there.
Let's see. Barry White, Marvin Gaye.
How was Marvin Gaye?
Marvin's very cool. He was very cool.
And Barry White. Barry White actually lived behind my aunt on 102nd and Normandy in the back house when he first got started.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his road manager was a good friend of mine, and whenever Barry would be within 150 miles of wherever I was living, I'd always have to go hang out with him. He was a great cat. Paul McCartney. No, John Lennon, not Paul. John Lennon. I interviewed him in 1975 in New York.
And that was cool?
Very cool. Ran into him in a little boutique blue jean T-shirt shop on the Upper East Side in New York in 1975. Him and his wife were in there shopping.
Wow.
And I went over and introduced myself and asked him to come by and do an interview. I said, anytime you want. And he came that night, that very night.
Wow. Yeah. Do you find that, so, because, it's now time for us to get Honey's Closet and get us some, A-listers up in here. So do you think it's easy for me to just walk up to someone and say, hey, I do a radio show. How about you come inside and...
Sure. Why not?
Well, they say, girl, get the hell out of my face.
Worst they can say is, no, what have you lost? But if you don't ask...
I will never know.
You'll never know. And I bet you'll find that more people will say yes than will they say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people basically are generous and they want, they may say, well, yeah, how many listeners you got? I don't have none. But, if you come, I'm going to have some. That's what I would say.
I got some.
Yeah, but I would just say it don't matter. But if you come, we're going to market and promote it. You hit it on your social media, we're going to have a gazillion people.
Right.
So they may say, yeah, okay. So now you've applied some psychological impact on them to make them, you pull out their ego and say, yeah, you're right. I can bring some people. Damn right. I'm bad.
Right.
So come on with it. So yeah, absolutely. What do you got to lose?
I'm gonna start doing me a list. I'm gonna start going out, pick a day to go out and just go star hunting. Like, hey, come on inside of Honey's Closet. I hear when I tell people though, I run into people like Honey's Closet. What's in the closet? All about? Yeah. We come inside the closet and find out.
Right.
Yeah. It's time to turn up the notch.
Yeah.
Now.
So you got a nice little hook.
Yeah.
To spark the curiosity.
Yeah.
And,
And so all my people that went to Washington with me, Battle Cat, all you guys need to come up inside the closet because I'll start telling secrets. No, I won't do that. But yeah, I might.
But see, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And you got to remember, most celebrity types, they have a little bit of ego.
Yeah.
And if you get, Snoop Dogg to come, then say, damn, she got Snoop. I want to go up in there.
All I need is one to get up in here. Closet. I'm telling y'all now. I got a cool little following. A lot of people catch it the next day or whatever. I go back and I see people are commenting.
Yeah.
But the notch is about to seriously, and I say that because I have to now. Because and I know this sounds like cliche or whatever. I'm doing it for my father because I know that people were always thinking, oh, somebody called me today and they said, every time I asked about you, they would tell my other friends, a couple of friends of ours. He was like, every time I ask about you, they go, she's at home taking care of her dad. He said, I hear that for so long. He goes, and then when I heard he passed away, he said, I really was worried about you. This is all you've been doing. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it is.
And you're going to go through some, at least my experience when I lost my mom, it was that emptiness for a while of not hearing her voice, not having the responsibilities that I had on a daily basis, you know, basically nursing her. But you know what kept me going? I said, you know what? She fed me every day.
Yeah. She
cleaned my little body. She dressed me up. She made sure I got to school. I had lunch, dinner for years.
Yeah. See, I was daddy's girl because my daddy used to love to put me in little dresses and dress me up and do everything. And in the morning, so he died Saturday the 27th. And let me go back to this. We're going back to my dad again. Sorry, guys, but it makes me think.
It's always going to happen.
Yeah. They said, what time do you want the mortuary to come pick him up? How much time do you want? So I said, well, they can come like in 2 or 3 hours. And so my son said, well, you might want to wait till the sun goes down because you don't want everybody looking because he lives in the senior apartment, right? And so she goes, well, you can leave him here for 24 hours. I said, look, love my daddy, but he won't be staying here for 24 hours. He gonna get up out of here tonight. You know, so he stayed up until about, 7. And the hardest thing is when they come to get him.
Yeah.
You know,
see him put him in that body bag.
Yeah. And there was
that was hard for me because I didn't want to see it.
And I said, you know what, before you touch him, just let me go talk to him, you know? And I remember just going in there and talking to him. And I remember saying, I'm sorry, I didn't, because prior to him getting to that point, I was like, he just lazy. Like, he's just giving up. He don't want to do nothing for himself. Like, I'm so aggravated. I would come tell you, like, I got to do this and do this. And, and then I go, dang, I didn't know. And I feel so bad. I'm like, my baby, I didn't even know. Like, because he became my baby at the end because I took care of him.
Well, if we live old enough and, start having those crazy illnesses and stuff, you revert back to being a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. But somebody has to take care of you.
I will say this about my father. And how much time do we have left? I will say this about my father.
5-6 minutes.
Okay. He went out strong. Like, from what they told me that can happen and things that he can do and the stuff, he didn't do most of those things. He was like hallucinating a little bit. But like one day I went in there, he was uncomfortable and I went to check on him and I put the pillow on the side. He goes, what are all them roaches doing on the wall? And I'm like, what? There's nothing. Like, oh, okay. And that started scaring me. Like, oh, it's just a hallucination they're talking about. And then I go, Daddy.
Was he on some kind of meds?
Just his regular meds. But they said they start hallucinating towards. And so I'm like, little things he would say and do. I'm like, oh, that's a hallucination. But the other stuff.
Conversation with people who were already dead?
See, they told me about that. But he didn't do that I knew. And so I was looking for that. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's just the meds he's on because he got a urinary tract infection. So they put him on antibiotics and all that. So I'm like, maybe that's making him do that. But he went out a G. Like he got out the bed. He went on his own terms. And I guess, the Thanksgiving's coming up, one of his favorite holidays. He's gonna make potato pies and stuff. And his birthday is 2 days later. So it's going to be rough. But, and like I said, I'll just share portions of things with people that can be of help to somebody else that's going through it. If you need to hit me up. Email me or hit me up on Facebook. I'm Miss Radio Host on social media. But since Thanksgiving is 2 days away, right? What can you tell me, like, one of the worst meals or the worst things that you've had for Thanksgiving?
You know what? I don't think I've had a bad one. Maybe not exactly what I wanted or expected, but I wouldn't say I had a bad Thanksgiving experience. Even when I've been to someone else's home that I would even hardly know, it was okay. It was cool.
Yeah.
Because the spirit of what Thanksgiving is all about is what I try to focus in on more than anything else. I mean, I have a couple of favorite foods that I expect to have.
So what's your must-have meal or dish for Thanksgiving?
Cornbread stuffing.
Cornbread stuffing.
And cranberry sauce from Honey Baked Ham. It's got walnuts in the cranberry
really?
sauce. Oh, it's so good. I even put it on ice cream.
Oh, my God.
Throughout the year.
I love cranberry sauce
Most
for
people
Thanksgiving.
don't.
Oh, I love it.
Me too.
I love cranberry sauce. And I can go without turkey. Normally, my tradition for Thanksgiving because my father was a chef.
Okay.
He was a chef for a movie producer before he met my mom. So he can cook and decorate anything. So when he started getting older and stopped wanting to cook those big meals, I would do jambalaya.
Love jambalaya.
Jambalaya was always my Thanksgiving dish for like the last 5 years.
And gumbo?
Yeah, we do gumbo for like Christmas or New Year's, but jambalaya, but I have to have that cranberry sauce.
I like gumbo for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Now I seen some idiot put a pot of gumbo up on social media the other day and put some damn hot dogs in it. That's a
jackass.
They need to be arrested by the gumbo police.
Exactly.
By the gumbo police.
Yeah, he should be smacked in the face with the hot dog.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like who in the hell does that? Idiots. Just had the big old shrimp in there, crabs and everything, and the gumbo, the roux was really thin. And they had some these little hot dogs up in there. I'm like, who?
Yeah, you got to get the real. What's the sausage called?
They had sausage.
Yeah.
They had the I don't know if it was Farmer John's or not Farmer John's. What's the little round ones?
Yeah.
Whatever those are.
Yeah, but that's not the real sausage. It's a French name.
Was it
Baguette or something? I forget what it's called. But it's a special sausage that people in Louisiana use in the gumbo.
Yeah.
So for those who know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat room.
If y'all know tell us what that sausage is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. Hey, Lisa London, #badass chick. Hey, Alana. Let me see who's all. I'm not even been on here. Oh my God, my cousin G is on here watching with us. He hasn't been on in a long time. Kenya Dorsey, Keith Johnson, Robert Charles, Sean Sears, my brother Sean. Hey, Alana, my baby girl in Jersey. Kada, love you, Kada. Lisa London, I love her. I haven't been able to listen to Chris in the mornings because there's been a lot going on. But normally I try to chime in, and we have this thing where we do #badass chicks. So I got to #badass chicks, yeah.
Yeah, she's badass.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm a little under the weather, so it's been kind of hard. I've been coughing and hooping and everything else. Thank you guys so much. I am about to revamp Honey's Closet, though, because I'm going to make my daddy proud. I'm going to do the things that I've always wanted to do, but felt limited because of what was going on in my life. Now, I feel empty. I have nothing, nobody to take care of. Nothing. I have Darius, though. And Darius has been, let me say this before I go. When my dad passed away, Darius, we didn't think he knew what was going on. So when they took his body out, we asked Darius, like, where's Papa? And he said, because I said he didn't know what was going on. My son said he did. And he said, Papa is dead and I'm going to miss him. And I was just like, wow. And when we went to the mortuary, he said, where's Papa at? And I'm like, how does he know? Like they're very alert. So I want to, I also want to help the people with my autism family that, as well with children. They know. They are very well, they know.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions or, if you're going through something or getting ready to go through it, please feel free to call me or hit me up on my social media, Miss Radio Host, MS Radio Host. It feels good to be back, but look forward to some amazing things coming from Honey's Closet. Anyways, Lee, take me out of here.
No, it's not time to go yet.
It's not?
Nope.
How much time do I have?
You got about another minute.
Oh. Just a minute?
Yeah.
What? Okay, well, hey, follow me on social media, Miss Radio Host, MS Radio Host. If you have any questions or you want to know something, or you need some help, or you have some concerns, or you just want to talk to me, hit me up on my social media. I'm always available to help someone and talk. I want to give back. Hey, if you have leftover food this year from Thanksgiving, don't throw it out. Please feed the homeless. Go to Smart and Finals, get those little Asian containers or containers, and put that food in there and go feed the homeless.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, feed the homeless.
Well, there won't be any leftovers in my spot.
Well, save your plate.
Mr. Piggy is in the house.
Really?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow. Hey, and Jackson Limousine is giving out turkeys, guys. So if you're in need,
forever, yeah.
If you're in need and you need a turkey, you know someone who's in need, go help somebody else. Always give back, help others. I'm telling you. And look, I know you guys can be anywhere in the world, but you choose to be here with me in Honey's Closet. I appreciate it. Always stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. Until next week, God bless. Keep me in your prayers.
Red bone pretty, let the world know. And if it's sweet like honey, that's my girl show. Biggie Beats, turn the volume up. Chuck B, turn the volume up. J Dub, turn the volume up. DJ, turn the volume up. Honey Claus. Honey's Claus.